Y'all know in that Janae song, I think it's psilocybin. I think he's a medicine man at the end. He says, if you talk to your plants, then your plants will talk to you. That is so real. And I have a message from one of my plants. It's no longer with me anymore, but I did journal it down when I did speak to it. And it told me to release my tensions and release your fears. That anxiety is rooted in the unknown, the focus on what is uncertain. But we must remember who we are. A goddess deeply connected to the celestial body in which we exist. It reminded me to return here to feel the bliss and peace that is Source. Mama Ki, or Tiamat, is another manifestation of Source. She is in the plants she grows, the water that flows, the beings that exist. This manufactured reality does everything it can to make us hate ourselves and disconnect us from the divine. If Mama Ki is a school for spiritual beings to experience the physical, achieve ascension, I see now why so many of us have incarnated here. We have been sent to restore the natural balance, to raise the vibration of this celestial body once more. I thank my plant guide for giving me healing and wisdom this rising. It reminds me that we are one. They are here to help us. They really do speak to those who listen, not in a language spoken by tongue, but one implanted in your soul. And that's just so true. And there's been a lot of things taking place energetically. Y'all know all of these natural disasters that's been taking place, and my condolences to anyone who has personally or knows anyone who has been affected by, the tornadoes. There's supposed to be a very big earthquake hitting the West Coast this summer. Y'all know when we speak about this time that we're in and how the frequency is rising, there are so many things that have been taking place in the spiritual for so long that is kind of just now really starting to pick up in momentum in the physical. And for that, I know with this summer, the sun is going to be reaching solar maximum, this local sun that we see, emitting a lot of solar flares. And that's why a lot of people were talking about a time where we will become the X-Men again, right? The Avengers. We would be able to unlock our DNA, restore all of, the aspects of our Akashic records that have been dormant within our body because of the solar flare and gamma radiation that will be being emitted by our black sun and our local sun. With that being said, I've been personally feeling a lot of just turbulence within myself. I've been feeling a lot of lack of balance within myself, but I also haven't been grounding myself lately like I usually do. And I say all that to say, please utilize our earthly mother to heal yourself and to ground yourself, because as I was saying, the spiritual battles are just now kind of picking up momentum in the physical, even with the plantation, burning down and all that stuff. New Orleans has been a very big hot spot. But again, I think it either lies directly on the 33rd parallel or very close to it. So it makes sense. There's going to be a lot of things taking place within America, of course, throughout the world, but what's going to affect us most directly is the things taking place in America. And so, yes, as we enter summer, I do really feel like that. But before things even take place on the physical, with actual locations and mass groups of people, we are facing a spiritual battle every single day. Every single day you wake up and you are experiencing consciousness, you have certain battles that you have to navigate through. I know for me, myself, I have kind of subjugated myself to like this mental prison, right? Because I have very easily fallen into the trap of overthinking, and that kind of just is a ripple effect, right? Like once you start overthinking, it leads to another thing that leads to another thing. And anxiety is another big aspect of that. But grounding yourself in earth, regardless of if you want to like do the whole grounding yourself with your bare feet, or you just want to surround yourself with nature, it is so critical. Because again, we can't get so caught up on the things that we see and think that that's it. Things take place in the spiritual or energetically before they ever manifest themselves into the physical. And so you have to understand that, like, all of these years we've been hearing people talk about spiritual warfare and all of that stuff. That stuff has been going on, yes, and that's why it's just now translating to the physical. But it's becoming even more magnified and intense now, the spiritual warfare, because of everything that's taking place in the physical. And so an example of that would be intrusive thoughts that you have. You know what I'm saying? Feeling just at dis-ease within yourself. That is a tampering with of your energetic field by unseen forces. Because you have to realize that you at your essence is bliss consciousness, is peace, because that's where we stem from. So anything that you are feeling that is of a dense state, that is of a lower frequency, like anger, sadness, anxiety, fear, you know what I'm saying? All of these dense motions of your ego, a lot of these things that you are thinking, that you are feeling, are actually being planted within you, but you aren't considering that because, one, we aren't taught that there is unseen forces that are tampering with human consciousness. But when we look at like the moon, right, I still feel like the moon is so mysterious because I just can't really wrap my head around it. And especially for women, how much it really truly affects and impacts us, our menstrual cycles, as a human species. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about people on a full moon like acting more, irrational and more angry. You know what I'm saying? Like, the moon affects us because we are majority water. The moon controls the tides of the ocean. I've heard so many stories. There was a tribe in Africa, I believe it was the Dogon tribe, but do not quote me on it. There is a tribe in Africa that distinctly remembers and has accounts of an atmosphere before the moon was there. And there's so many stories that I've read that state that the moon is a form of alien technology. It is a base. It is a hard drive. I've heard all of these things. And so even when you look at the DreamWorks animation before some movies, and how there's a little boy sitting on the crescent moon fishing, and I've heard theories that he's fishing for souls. And I know that might sound left field, but you have to be open-minded to the fact that the things that we've deemed to be our reality are everything but. So all that to say, we need Earth now more than ever, and she's here to heal us. She's here to heal us if you allow her to. And you, as gods and goddesses of this celestial body, have the ability to tap into the healing frequencies of this realm. It is here for us. Just like how if you've ever done like mushrooms or any type of psychedelics, anything that is of the earth, right? You realize that these things are teachers. They've been demonized and castrated from society because of the immense power that they hold. I truly feel like things like that is our ancient technology, right? Because it's like a gateway to things that expand beyond the veil that we know to be life. I'll never forget a trip that I had where I saw praying mantises on the moon, and come to find out like a year later that there are praying mantis like beings that are archonic. Archonic just meaning harnessing or harvesters of our energy, which is the same energy that I'm referring to when I'm talking about, you know, all those dense feelings that you'll have that come out of nowhere, or that will keep you really feeling just out of balance when you aren't grounded and all of that stuff. That is because those entities are parasitic and they're harnessing your energy. Those parasites, they need a host. They need a host, and because of our lack of knowledge surrounding spiritual warfare for real, and the spiritual entities that are here extending beyond the physical, we are unwilling participants to a lot of energetic manipulation. So yeah, it really isn't until I ground myself in nature that I realize, you know what I'm saying? Like, just come to a lot of realizations. And that's just what I wanted to share that plant message for anybody who needed to hear it.